and its connection is itself alienation, or you could say a severance of ties. Its relationship is in reality a severance of ties. Because why? It is superficial, temporary, and results in a strong alienation. That's what it is. It's not in reality a relationship, it is alienation. The Shaker, after reminding us of the realities of our bodies, he said, "Oh, you who serves the body, how long will you work in its service, seeking profit in the place of loss?" If you want a profit, Allah said, the one has successful is the one who purifies it. He said, so focus on your soul, perfect its virtues, knowledge, certitude, humility, fear, hope, seeking good for the servants of Allah, a good thought. Complete its virtues, the virtues of your soul. Responding to wickedness with good. So then at that point you will be a human being. You through the soul, not through the body, are a human being. If you have a methodology in this life, this noble methodology in life, in the beginning it may occur to you that this is difficult, this is burdensome. This methodology, this is what will bring comfort and rest. It will make you obtain good. It will bring you to various types of good aims, to respond to the one who mistreats you with goodness. And the Quran articulated that in the best way. He said, you're not a good, a wicked, a deed and a good deed are not the same. Defend yourself with what is better, and then the one between you and whom there was enemy will be as if they were a close friend. He said, however, the egos overcome people. And maybe they'll boast about this vice. They'll say, I can't be patient with any kind of mistreatment. They'll boast, I have no forbearance, I have no knowledge, I have no reason, I have no evidence. That's the meaning. This person, he's criticizing himself and he thinks he's praising himself. And he said, generally people, their egos will be stirred when they're mistreated and they want to respond with wickedness. And no one receives this virtue except the ones who are patient and those who have fortune. The one who responds in exchange for a slip, he gives pardon and forgiveness. And that's Allah's attribute. So if you try to become that way, you're emulating divine beauty. And he said, this person, when he mistreats you in dealing in phrases, so do you respond? So you respond to their slip with pardon and forgiveness. You feared when someone insulted Isa next to them, he took away and prayed for him. He insulted him a second time, a third time. He said, he's not praising you and you're praying for him. He said, everyone spends what he has. The prophets don't have this baseness, this lowliness, this misspeaking. And he said, so you respond to their slip with pardon and forgiveness. And he said, how could a person respond with this, If this person does this, his good will multiply. He said, you as a believer, you have sinned. If you do this for the countenance of Allah, is that Allah pardon you, Allah forgive you. So he receives your slips, your misdeeds with pardon and forgiveness. And he said, now I will respond to I will receive your slips and your evil deeds with pardon and forgiveness. And the Prophet ﷺ spoke about this reality. A man from Venezuela, he hadn't done a lot of good deeds. He was what? He was a merchant, and he would say to his agents, if someone has money, you give him time to pay off his debt. And someone who doesn't have money, pardon their debt. He said, maybe Allah will pardon us. Hopefully Allah will pardon us. He died. And he met the real subhanahu. What did he say? Ya Allah, I don't have good deeds, except that I would say to my merchants, my agents, pardon, give ease to the wealthy person and excuse the poor person. Allah said, we pardon you. All of his deeds pardoned, and he was placed in a bliss that will never end. He did a little deeds for humans, and he got a great gift from the great subhanahu. So how great it is to relate to Allah, the great of immense goodness, vast munificence, favor, vast favor. He pardon you, and you pardon him, and he forgive you. And what is your pardon equal to his? Sallallahu alayhi subhanahu. Oh Allah, you're pardoning, you're forgiving. You love to forgive us. So if someone misbehaves, you respond to their misbehavior, their mistreatment, with pardon and forgiveness. This sublime meaning 95 civil suits, 95% of civil suits would end. Most of the cases, court cases, if everyone did this, these cases would end. However, the problems that come from who? From us. We deviate from the most noble path, and then we fall into problems. And if someone misbehaves, you respond in exchange for their mistreatment, their slip, with pardon and forgiveness. And always be cooperative, always be supportive and assistive. Anyone who has difficulty, a trial, hardships, you always help people in all of these. Number one, extremely helpful to anyone you can in your whole life. Be someone who is very given to assist others by helping, by support, by generosity. And he said, you do that and Allah will not let you down. Someone who helps, and he said, don't let them down if they hope in you. Someone who doesn't let down those who hope in him, Allah will not let them down. And the one who hopes good from you, you help him in the way you are able. Someone who hopes beneficence, you do what you can. You give him what you can. You always be an assistant, extremely helpful in your life. That's someone who is emancipated from being overcome by their lower self and enslaved by their appetites. And Allah helps a servant as long as the servant is helping his brother. So you, to the extent you help with the extent of your wealth, your power, your ability. And what is his extent? Oh, the Lord of the throne. What if he's helping you? That's great help that will come to you in exchange for your little help. Allah continues to be in the assistance of a servant as long as the servant is in the assistance of his brother. So in all people's misfortunes, hardships, trials, you help them with what you're able. Making them happy, giving them charity, giving them gifts, guiding them, taking them by the hand, helping them focus, every good, helping unify everything you can. Anything that someone hopes from you, you give. Someone liberated from yourself, some desire. He is very helpful. And like this, you've heard what we were reminded of, a woman at Israel. She was eating food. The last morsel she gave to a person. Last bite she gave it to a poor person eating her stuff. And then a wolf snatched her child, her son, and ran. She ran after my son, my son, my son. Then a man stood, stopped the wolf, took the child, stroked the child, and so nothing happened to the child. And gave back, who are you that Allah sent you? And rescued my son. He said, I'm an angel. I was in the fourth sky when the wolf grabbed your son. The real called me and said, go and save her child from the mouth of the wolf by my permission, and strike it and say, says, morsel for a morsel. You gave the poor. You took it out of your mouth and gave it to this poor person. There's one back for you, Allahu Akbar. How great it is to do transactions with Ar-Rahman. Always be a helpful, because a truly emancipated person is helpful. And cling to the cable of Allah, the rope of Allah. So you only cling to the one who's strong, firm, the one who is the whole affair. Depend upon him. Seek refuge on his rope. For surely this is the pillar if all the pillars let you down. People cling to the pillars of nations, of everything. If they all let you down, you adhere to this pillar. It'll be there for you. It will guard you. The outcome will be in your favor. Hold fast to the rope of Allah, seeking protection. His Sharia, that he is pleased with, his religion, Muhammad that he sent, that's Allah's core rope. They say to the Prophet of poetry, you are Allah's rope. The one who adheres to it, he will be triumphant with good. The deen is his deen. The Sharia is the Sharia of Muhammad. Sallallahu. He's the foremost of the people of Islam. He is Allah's firm cable, his firm rope. Hold fast to the rope of Allah, seeking protection. When all creatures, you can't rely on, you can't seek refuge with them on the day of resurrection. He's the one who says, I am for this. No one's given permission for intercession. Look, the greats, prophets, martyrs, none of them can. He said, I am for this, he says. He says, I am for this. He said, depending on Allah alone, relying on Allah solely. He said, adhering to his Sharia. Say, if you love Allah, follow me closely. Said, then follow me. If you want to know him, follow me. If you depend on him, follow him. He said, if you fear him, follow me. You depend on me, follow him. All of this is in making all of those correct is in following Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Between truth, falsehood, good, evil, guidance, going astray, paradise, hellfire, all of it. Between Allah's pleasure, Allah's displeasure. Someone who claims to love Allah and knowing Allah and seeking aid, depending upon Allah, relying on Allah, humbling, submission, hope, awe, fear, any manifestations of love. He said, I am the place of purity. If you're true, then follow me. If you follow me, you're true. If not, no. And he said, no one fears, hopes, reveres, humbles, is in awe, except those who follow me. Here, come and test it. If you love Allah, then follow me. Allah will love you, forgive your sins. He will decree the soundness of your love and forgive you. Hold fast to the cord of the rope of Allah. It is the pillar if all other pillars let you down. May Allah give us to depend upon you, rely on you, and cling to Allah. Allahumma ameen. So here he is talking about two states, cut and bust, spiritual expansion and contraction, and the rulings of those. And he says, the knowers of Allah, when they are spiritually expanded, are more fearful than when they're contracted, because very few remain within the boundaries of adab in states of spiritual expansion. And he said, the knowers of Allah and his attributes and his nudes and the manifestation of his names, and the knower of Allah is only like that. And knowledge is more specific or more select than ma'rifah is more select than ilm. And hikmah is a synonym for it, wisdom. And also the arifin, the knowers of Allah, are called al-hukama, the wise. And this is from the most magnificent of Allah's favors upon those who are given it. And the knower of Allah is firm. And the one who has ilm of Allah, not ma'rifah, that person, his states will fluctuate. And the knowers of Allah, they are the elect of the people of the spiritual path, the masters of all the troops. They have degrees with Allah. So some of them are virtuous and others are more excellent. And some of them are realized, they're muhakkik. And some of them are firm in their states who know Allah in all manifestations and show adab to him in every presence or everything, in every vision. And those are the ones who have adab. and they are the elect of the strangers. And they love the sunnahs that people have made to die. They are saved in the manifestations of trials. They're the ones who are safe. They're the ones who correct from the religion what people have ruined. And those are the ones who live in a state of well-being and die in well-being and are resurrected in well-being. And I'm translating well-being from the word afia. They travel among people with goodwill, nasiha, in bodies that are dead from this world and hearts that remain in the highest planes. And they seek refuge with the real. Just as a bird takes refuge in its nest. Their hearts fluctuate or move forth, go forth in the highest company. And raiments of mercy are cast upon them. And Habib's commenting. He said, praise be to Allah who gives tawfiq, who helps. And we send prayers upon his servant, Sayyidina Muhammad, and all of the messengers and their families and those who follow them, and upon all prophets and messengers, and upon their families, companions, those who follow them, the angels brought near, all of Allah's pious servants. May these prayers be upon us, with them and among them. Surely he's the most generous and the most merciful. He mentioned to us these two states of qabd and bast, contraction and expansion, and what is based upon that in the state of the human being, the spiritual state of the human being, and what adheres to that of affairs. The knowers of Allah are more fearful when they're in a state of bast, expansion, than they are in a state of qabd. Very few remain within the confines of adab in a state of bast. And he said those who have adab in qabd are few, but those who maintain adab and remain within its confines in a state of expansion, those are people of wisdom from the best of those brought near, who know good adab with the Lord of the world in a state of bast. The knowers of Allah, his names, his attributes, the manifestations of his names. Those are the ones to whom the secrets of Allah's names and attributes and his actions and his greatness and his magnificence and his sanctity, that has been revealed to them, that which most of the believers are unaware of. So they reach a level that is called Ayn Yaqeen, certain sight. This knower of Allah, knowledge, ma'rifah, this is the knower, ma'rifah, gnosis. I'm translating ma'rifah as gnosis. They will all be people of Ayn Yaqeen. Someone might have ilm yaqeen, but he's not a person of ma'rifah khas. And he'll, due to this, the elect of the creatures are human beings. The elect of humanity are the learned, the people who have ilm, and the elect of the ulama, people of knowledge, are the knowers, the Gnostics. And I'm just using this to make a distinction. And the elect of them are people of haqiqat tawheed, acting in good pleasure with all of Allah's decrees. One rak'ah of those people from a believer who has knowledge, it's better than 1,000 rak'ahs of those without knowledge, someone who's ignorant, who's a believer. And one rak'ah of a person who believes, has knowledge and has gnosis, is better than 1,000 from those who are not a Gnostic. And as for the elect of the knowers of the Gnostics, those who act in true, the reality of monotheism, of Tawheed, one of their breaths, all the deeds of humanity don't equal one of their breaths. And from this, they say about a Faqih Muqaddam, one breath of his equals the deeds of all mankind and jinn. One breath of a Faqih. Glory to the giver. They have degrees with Allah, and Allah is well seeing what they do. Ma'rifah, gnosis, more specific than knowledge. And you call them the hukama, the wise. And it is from the greatest of Allah's favors upon those who are given it. Oh Allah, give us a great fortune of it. Knowers, Gnostics, they have a firmness in their state. The people of knowledge, their states fluctuate. They are the elect of the people of this way, the masters of the groups. May Allah give us to love them. May Allah give us to be resurrected in their groups. They are degrees with Allah. Some of them are good, some of them are more virtuous, some of them are firm, some of them know Allah in all manifestations. And it comes in hadith, Allah's manifestation is the theophany of the real on Yawm al-Qiyamah, when He manifests His attributes. People in the standing place, believers and disbelievers, they'll be in awe of Allah. The little knowers are the believers. The little Gnostics are the believers. And they'll say, wait in this place until our Lord comes. The prophets know. The prophets know. When the disbelievers leave, the people of firmness, they know Allah in all manifestations. La ilaha illallah. And he said, and it's like this. It's like this. He said, the Habib said, so they're given adab, they're given a show, etiquette with Allah in everything they see. And their master is the one who said, my Lord taught me adab. That's the head of them. They give life to what people have killed of sunnahs. They are the ones who are safe when trials appear. Nothing misguides them, nor do threats shake them. They are on a clear proof. We've been guided to our paths, they say. People go left and right, and these people are firm on their path. And after all opportunities are lost and benefits, they say, after what? After problems, and after problems have happened, and tumultuous affairs, and all relationships are cut off, they're still traveling along this way. But Allah guides to His light those who He wills. Allah guides to the light those He wills. They live in wellness. They correct what people have ruined. They live in wellness, die in wellness, resurrected in afiyah. May Allah make us of that. They travel among humanity with good counsel, with bodies that are absent from the world, showing it no concern, with hearts that are in a spiritual retreat in the highest plains. As-Safi, that is the dwelling place of the elite, honored angels above the seventh sky. That's where their hearts move. They're always present with the real, always have an aspiration, or always turning to Him in every breath. Malaikatul Safi, those angels of As-Safi, planes above the seventh heaven. Imam al-Haddad, he indicated this in some of his poetry. Don't prefer anything over Ar-Rahman, he says. He said, ascend to pure repentance. He said, there's a God, one noble, who is glorified by the angels of As-Safi. From the highest of the angels. And they, the hearts of those who love the Lord of Lords, are in their proximity while these people are walking on the surface of this earth. They're walking with bodies. Their hearts are in the neighborhood of the angels of As-Safi. He said to be loved in elevated places, and As-Safi with every heart that roams. Perhaps this person can be pardoned. And he said, the one who is in love and lost, seeking that high plane, he has a heart, a spirit that yearns. He yearns for Arafah. He yearns for Na'man. Where what happened? Where one of the greatest manifestations of Ar-Rahman brought all of the souls of Banu Adam, and he said, am I not your Lord? And they said, Bella. In 772, Allah said to us, am I not your Lord? That was at that place. At As-Safu, bi Na'man al-Arach. And what covenant was taken there with a clear tongue? And he said, these are phases of the soul, so that hopefully I could receive gifts. However, we were veiled by our wishes and by this opaque world. And what about the one who's in these base places, these low places? Let these souls come to their resting place. This soul is not from the realm of bodies. It's noble. It's precious. It's not for this world. The spirit is from the unseen, and it longs for its place. And this body is from mud and water. He said, so you seek wherever you will. Each one has an aspiration, a direction in which he turns. And leave those with bad character and actions, and travel with hard work and listen to a sincere counselor. Don't prefer anything over a Rahman. Don't prefer anything over your Lord. Everything, he created it, he made it, it's in his grasp. This is his decree. Do not prefer anything over him. Prefer him, love him. Long for him, lower yourself before him, submit to him, seek refuge in him. Don't prefer anything over a Rahman. Exalted is he accepts pure repentance. One God, great King. He's glorified by the angels of As-Safi, of that high plane. May good pleasure of Allah be upon them. The Najd is a high place. So they call high stations a Najd. And Allah, and he said, from the place of the sanctuary, the wind blows at the end of night. So then it will ascend to a high place, the spirit of knowledge, of love. It mentions an elevation place that gives forth its beverage. And there are lovers of ours there. And visiting them and loving them. And they ask about us and we ask about them. and they cry like us. And these lines were read with his student, Habib Ahmed bin Zayn al-Habashi, when he was connected to that elevated place. He cried, he cried, he cried, he cried. He said, they ask about us and we ask about them. And we hope to connect to them. And they cry and we cry, with tears flowing over the cheeks. May Allah gather all that was scattered and everyone in this valley. And we and them, even if we live in a long time, this is dunya. Let us leave this dunya. Everyone will leave this dunya, and its end is death, grave, barzakh, resurrection to the Lord Ar-Rahim. And we hope from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala magnanimity and pardon. We ask Allah pardon and forgiveness from the best merciful. So let us pardon those who mistreat us so that we could attain Allah's pardon and we could enter paradise. Allah place us in paradise in His grace and favor. And He lets Ahmad intercede for us, the firm rope. No one can participate with him in this intercession. Not those who carry the throne of Allah, not the Kurubiyin, not the angels of Isafi, not Adam, no one. He says, I am the one who's for this intercession. Let Ahmed intercede for us, the best of humanity, the prophet of guidance, his of immense prestige. May the salawat of Allah be upon him and his peace, as long as any gentle wind blows. La ilaha illallah. Here, the author also mentions this meaning. May Allah's good pleasure be upon him and mercy. Oh, excuse me, Imam Haddad mentions this meaning in a poem of his that rhymes in the letter Ra. Arabic poems rhyme in a letter at their end. This is one of his poems that rhymes in Ra. We ask prayers and peace upon Muhammad and his family and his companions. MashaAllah. Allahumma salli wa sallam alayhi wa ala alihi wa sahbihi. Ya Allah, Ya Allah. He said, may Allah's good mercy, blessing, and peace tabarak wa ta'ala be upon him. Imam Haddad, may Allah's mercy says, may Allah give to drink from that beverage and gaze at his noble countenance in the life, death, the barzakh, the day that we come beneath the banner of praise. May Allah give us to see Prophet Muhammad's face when we come to the watering place in the abode of divine generosity. Ya Hayyu, Ya living eternal, O one, O singular, O most generous, O most merciful. Allah, 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 Allah. Said, may prayers and peace be upon Muhammad and his family. He's just trying to locate one of the poems in Imam Haddad's Diwan, his compilation of poems. His great Ra'iyah, in which he says, it relates to this affair of the Qibla of the Muslims, the noble Kaaba. May Allah make many come to it more than there were. May Allah give us inwardly and outwardly. He indicates the Kaaba. He says the hearts were infatuated with the love of Amira, and they flew to it, to the reality of the Kaaba. Someone of love, someone of virtue, someone of mindfulness, not deluded by the world. Those gazelles, how much were they shot with arrows, and they came through the night, and they went leaving everything of the body, and the body, would I ever see it while someone else slept? It is my direction, it is my Qibla. And others of the Imams of my madhab who were purified in this time, and the people of the Qibla that everyone of dhikr, slave, prayed to, performing rites, dedicating himself totally to Allah. Let us ascend now in knowledge and a subtle spirit that is pure, so that there we witness a safih. So we see the angels around a safih, turning in the direction of the throne of the originator. He said they were singing this when we were asking permission to come see Habib Abdul Qadir and Habib Abu Bakr Mashur, and the Munshid reached this line. Now let us ascend with this subtle, pure, spiritual to a Safi, and we see the angels around a Safi facing the throne. And Habib Abdul Qadir said, Tafaddal, come in now, come in. I said to him, he said, we came in and the Munshid was saying that glory is the one that all of the faces directed themselves to him. By humbling themselves, by awe before the King, the Magnificent, his attributes were sanctified from everyone who doubts. I believe in Allah, the Great, and in his messenger, the seal of all prophets, and upon his family and companions and every servant who returns to Allah in gratitude. We witness the angels around the Safi facing the throne of the originator, Imam Haddad says. And those who are below that, their Qibla is the Bayt al-Ma'mur. Those who are below that, their Qibla is the Kaaba. The throne is not the aim. The Bayt Ma'mur is not the aim. The Kaaba is not the aim. But these are ways that we turn to him, the Lord of the great throne. He is the aim. And how great are the relationships between these things, the connections between these and the Lord, the hearts of those who worship the Lord, wherever they are in this earth or in the barzakh or in the sky. How strong is their relationship to him? Hearts that are they are in itikaf, in the highest Safiya. They long to meet Allah. And they long to meet him. Nothing can give them refuge, no earth nor sky. They're not in the earth and the sky cannot encompass them. What their hearts hold, the earth and the heavens cannot contain it. They want that elect nearness. Their hearts are in the highest company. And the sakina of the kursi descends upon them, and they're given salams the day that they receive the greeting of peace when they meet him, and he prepares for them a noble reward. They're seldomly seen by eyes. They're concealed beneath the veils. Allah veils them. Glory to the one who does not lead to his friends except in the way of leading to himself, doesn't make anyone reach them except those who he wills to reach him. Allah makes no one know them except those who he has selected for his love, and he makes them love them and them love them. So that person is felicitous by love of the awliya. And then he indicated some wisdoms of when they're in a state of expansion. They're more fearful than they are when they're in contraction, and they don't want to fall from the eye of their king. In everything they want to be in Allah's love and in his remembrance. And from the salawat, oh Allah, send prayers and peace upon Muhammad bin Abdullah, the one who fulfills the rights of Allah. That is Fatima said of Prophet Muhammad, al-qa'im bi hukukillah. She knew how to describe her father. And the aim of the knowers of Allah is to fulfill the rights of the divine. O Allah, send prayers and peace upon Muhammad bin Abdullah, the one who fulfills the rights of Allah. That is a formula of salawat attributed to Sayyidatina Fatima. O Allah, send prayers and peace upon Muhammad bin Abdullah, the one who fulfills the rights of Allah. He said, the author, the commentator, their utmost joy is that they fulfill Allah's rights and that they serve him and they live in those things that he loves, and their utmost fear is when they, if for them to deviate from what Allah loves in a state of expansion. So they're more fearful in expansion because they could fall into a state that contradicted servitude and manners with Allah. And very few can remain in a state of etiquette, manners, adab, when they're in spiritual expansion. As we see, most slips occur in expansion. They say, stand, be careful, and in bisat. Pause. Be careful in a state of bust. So now we're listening to Ibn Ata'illah's aphorism, who said, expansion, the ego takes a portion of it by joy, and contraction, there's no portion for the ego in that. And as you know, expansion, bust, is a state that comes to the heart from Allah. And it's a state of nearness. It's a state in nearness. It's from Allah and through Allah, not from others, not through others. Everyone who's happy about some worldly thing or some otherworldly reward, every happiness is either either through a worldly thing or a reward, that is nothing. And every bust comes through some cause. It's due to the cause that brought it. And this is not from the expansion we're talking about. This is something that Allah sends to the heart through a manifestation of one of his attributes, is what he's talking about. Not somebody's happy because they got a present, for example. And this is what this group refers to as bust, as expansion. A state that comes due to manifestations of divine attributes, not somebody's happy about a guest came or something. He said, so if you want to know if the expansion that came to you, is it from Allah or due to some other cause, compare it to all worldly and otherworldly causes. If you don't find it relate to any of those, then know that it's from Allah. Thank Allah for it, because he sent his concern to you and sent gifts to you. And your state with Allah should be etiquette, and with the creation should be guidance, gentleness, and not raising yourself over them. And if some other cause brought this expansion, do not give it any consideration. It's not a spiritual state. Just consider it as a blessing that you should thank Allah for. I'm happy about this, I thank Allah for it. And joy joy adheres to expansion. But Allah criticized those who rejoice, al-farihin, meaning that they become conceited and rejoice themselves. Allah said, La tafrah, inna Allah la yuhibbul farihin. He said that to Qarun, as Habib Omar was commentating. He said, expansion, the ego takes a portion from it. It becomes conceited. It makes claims that in that which belongs to the Creator. Greatness, elevation, immensity. These are lordly attributes. These are attributes of the Lord. He they're solely his property. And everything that is everything that the creation has, it's limited. And he said the heart, it doesn't attain any of that. He said that the ego takes a portion of bust by its being happy. And what's meant by bust here, expansion, it's not just being happy or rejoicing, but it is a noble state that Allah sends to the heart by a manifestation of an attribute of Ar-Rahman. One of his attributes, Allah manifests one of his attributes to the heart. It has no other cause. This other than this manifestation of divine attributes. So all causes of joy or causes of contraction, you think about all of these causes, you don't find the cause. Where did this come? It came from Allah, Tajalli, Subhanahu, an attribute that caused joy in the heart. And it's a state of nearness to Allah. Those who are from Allah and to Allah, comes to those brought near. All happiness about any worldly or otherworldly things, it's not what we're talking about, not what he's talking about. Every expansion that comes through a cause, it's based on that cause. But bust is a notion that Allah sends to the heart through a manifestation of attributes. The person rejoices, expands, becomes happy without any cause. There's no worldly or otherworldly cause. It's from a manifestation from the real. There he must govern himself. It needs control so that he doesn't go beyond the proper bounds. So this is what they mean, this group, when they say the word expansion. This which comes from above, pure, or comes from a cause. Compare it to all worldly causes. If you find it's due to any of those, then that's the happiness of the commoner people, not the spiritual elites. If he doesn't find any worldly cause, then thank Allah. When Allah gave you his gifts, and you should thank Allah, have adab with Allah, and help and guidance to the people without raising yourself over them and making claims. You're Allah's slave. These are gifts from the king, the master. You're a slave. Thank him. Guide his servants without raising yourself over them. He was gentle to you, so you be gentle to them. He gifted, so you gift. He favored, so you favor. He was good to you, so you be good to them. You be good, he was good, you be good. And you ask him for them. Ask him for them, for the creatures. La ilaha illallah. And if he sends it due to some cause, it's not from the state that's being discussed, but it's just something that occurs to a human being in his life. And it's from blessings, right? It's a blessing. It's not a spiritual state, but it's from Allah's favors that we are obliged to thank for. If he makes you happy by tawfiq to obey, by reciting the Quran, he makes you happy. By your helping someone in difficulty, these are blessings. Be happy about them. Thank Allah. But a bust that has no cause, Allah manifested his attributes. That is the expansion of states that the elect indicate. And he said, however, these blessings that come and make you happy, that's good. And Allah said, in Allah's grace, in Allah's mercy, in that let them rejoice. So when the joy is pure in Allah's grace, then the heart who rejoices will revere the one who gave him this, and then he's rejoicing the essence of the one who favored him. Say, in Allah's grace and Allah's mercy, and that let them rejoice. It's better than all that they amass. So then being happy, if it's with other than Allah and other than his obedience, and other than coming close to him, rejoicing is blameworthy. But rejoicing his mercy, that is praiseworthy. But there's a level of rejoicing the grace, and there's a level of rejoicing it because it came from the giver. It came from Allah. That is a degree. Say, in Allah's mercy, Allah's grace, in that let them rejoice. It's better than they amass. As for being happy about worldly things, this is the joy of those who are heedless. All of Iblis's armies, they're happy about money comes, happy about whatever. Strength, bodily strength. All of the armies of Shaitan, Iblis, are happy with that. That's not the joy of the Gnostics, the pious, the believers. Allahu Akbar. Until they're only happy with Him. So rejoicing things other than Allah, much less even states, much less worldly things, it's a delusion. However, being happy about worldly things that are temporal, that's wickedness. The worst betrayal is to be happy about sin. That's a greater sin than the sin itself, to be happy about sin, waliyadu billah. That's a greater sin than the sin itself, to rejoice sin because it's an opposition of Allah. A believer sees his sin like a mountain going to fall on his head. The hypocrite sees it like a fly that it just brushes away. Get away from my face. La ilaha illallah. The sign of being deluded is ignorance, but being happy about Allah is sought. No one knows the station of joy in Allah except the true saints. May Allah make us join them. La ilaha illallah. They're rescued from these fearful things. Since someone is in a bust, they must show adab. When someone is contraction, they be still until it passes. You don't know what's in front of it until wait till its days past. And the turn of contraction comes and it will end. And then Allah transfer you from that to expansion. He said they were annihilated from all of the creation when Jalal appeared, and then they continued to the vision of beauty. He said, don't ask Allah to remove you from contraction, and that is poor manners. If a cause of joy comes, be happy. But you don't know the outcome of it. Be careful. Maybe you love something, it's bad. Maybe you hate something, it's good. Allah knows, and you don't know. Sama bin Abdul Aziz, he said, I've reached a state where I'm not happy about anything except the decrees of my Lord, the places of my Lord's decree. My heart has no happiness except the manifestations of the decree of my Lord. Some of them said, my heart was tranquiled by mashallah can, whatever Allah wills is, and what Allah does not is not. He said, hopefully maybe you love a thing or hate a thing. So then all states of contraction and expansion, then you leave all of that and you only love Him and you only hate disobeying Him. Praise be to Allah who made you love faith and made it beautiful in your hearts and made you hate disbelief and corruption. Those are the rightly guided, always going until from when their soul gargles out of their body forever. Barzakh, Qiyamah. Those are the ones who are rightly guided. Do you want this? Those are the rightly guided. How are they in this world? Allah made you love faith, made it beautiful in your hearts, made you hate disbelief and disobedience. That's Allah's grace and favor. He beautifies it in the hearts of the elect, until they attain. And he said, until those around them passionately love them because it's beautiful in their hearts. He said, we made this an ornament to try them. But this person becomes an ornament, but he longs for another thing. Allah said, we make it beautiful in their hearts. And he made you hate disbelief and corruption and disobedience. That is Allah's beneficence. That is Allah's blessing. He said, you got it from, didn't get it from here or there, you got it from him. It's all from him. Fadlun min Allah, favor from Allah. Oh Allah, favor us. Give us your beneficence, Ya Allah. Dhalika fadlun min Allah.
الإخاء والمدانة والمودة وأصفى الاجتباء والملاقاة مع كل موفق طب صدق مسعاه متوجه على درب النبي يقصد الله في محبة إلهه غاب الراح بلتاه مجلس النور ما يحضر به بينهم لا ولا غافل عن شرع مولى الورى شاه مجلس النور ما يحضر به بينهم لا ولا غافل عن شرع مولى الورى ساه يا إلهي ويا فعال كل الذي شاه اسقنا كاس وداك في شريف المناجاة يا الكريم الذي ما قط رد عبد قجاه الوسيلة لنا طه النبي واسع الجاه الذي قد كسوته تاج لولاه واجمع الشمل به نور سقى حلاوة وقت حمية. ربنا انصر جيوش الطهر واجمع لأعداه، رد كيد الذي قد كاب خايب لرجواه، واظهر الدين في العالم بأدناه واقصاه. رب صلي وسلم ما شجي طاب مغناه، على المشافى حبيبك واسع القدر والجاه، الحبيب الذي يرعى لأهل الموالاة، مصطفاك الذي له عين ترعى أحباه. رب صلي عليه وآله ومن قد تولاه، والصحابة جميعا هم رجال المصافى.
انفعنا بهم، ارفعنا على المراتب، اجزل لنا من حضرته المواهب، وانظمنا في سلك الأطايب. أي درجات المنتقل إلى رحمة الله محمد رضا بن عبد الله السقاف، يجمعنا به في أعلى درجات دار الكرامة وفردوسها الأعلى، وفي برازخ الأنوار، وفي ظل العرش، وفي تحت لواء الحمد، وعلى الحوض المورود. وأن الله يبارك في آثاره ويبارك من الخيرات، ويبارك في المعهد الذي درس فيه دار الحبيب، ويوفر لكل من درس فيه من خيرات الدارين الحظ والنصيب، ويجعل قبره روضة من رياض الجنة، ويجعل عذابه وقاية وجنة، يجمعنا وإياه في أعلى درجات دار الكرامة ومسك الرحمة، وأن الله يدخل عليه في قبر روحا منه، سلاما منا في كل لمحة وفي كل نفس، أن الله يخلفه فينا وفي أندونيسيا وفي الأمة المحمدية بخلف صالح. أن الله يفرج كروب المسلمين، سعى البلاء المؤمنين، يجعلنا وإياكم في الهداة المهتدين، وأهل العلم اليقين، وأهل عين اليقين، وأهل الحق اليقين. الحقنا بولاك الصادقين والصديقين، واجعل وجهتنا في كل الحالات ليقبل بوجه الكريم علينا، وعملنا بألطاف الجميلة، يختم لنا بأكمل الحسنى، وإلى حضرة النبي.
اللهم صل وسلم وبارك عليه وعلى آله وصحبه. الفاتحة. اللهم صل وسلم